All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the DXV podcast again. We're just doing a quick reaction video to the Welsh squad that was released today with our resident Welshman, Nye.
Hey,
All right, let's get into it. So, what did you actually think of the squad then, mate?
I don't know where he's going. I've always been a bit of a supporter of sort of Warren Gatland, and I could justify in my head what he said, what he did last year, throwing a grenade to the squad, loads of old players out, brand new caps in, and I could understand it with years to go until the sort of next World Cup. Now's the time if you're going to throw a grenade, and I could, in my head, I could justify still supporting what he's done. But I think after like a dismal Six Nations last year, we haven't done much better through any of the sort of summer tours and coming into the autumn internationals. And this is a risk. This team is honestly a risk to Warren Gatland. And I think
You think it's more of a risk than the last team because he's brought in back like Talupe Faletau, right? Like,
I think absolutely so. I think last time you could justify it, fresh World Cup, lots of old players like gone, new. But you'd like to think that if you're going to do that, now's the time to sort of, all right, I tried a hell of a load of new caps, tried a little, but I need to like stick with like some of these people and not with others. So I can't win it for him. I think actually he was one of the
he's done
really
well.
good
I don't know what he's done.
really good things. So to see him sort of not in there,
Rio Dyer, mate. Like,
yeah, I
probably
genuinely
the
I
only
don't
wing who I'm like, yeah, he could make it.
I don't know. This is what I mean. This is a, and I wouldn't say sort of risk to Wales because I think there are some people in there that could like shine and do really well. But I genuinely think to sort of Warren Gatland's position, that the fans aren't that happy.
Do you think it's because
WIU are not
he's?
that happy.
Do you think maybe it's because he's? So I saw something interesting say like this is a safe squad. This is one that's designed to get a win at all costs.
Like,
So like he's basically trying to not have another Six Nations where he loses all the games, and therefore, because let's be honest, if he loses all the games again, not that it's his fault, but something's gonna happen, right?
that's what he's. I there were some people in my head that were pretty safe bets, and that I don't see this. So I still don't see this as a safe squad for Gatland. I think there are trying to pick out like a starting 15 out of them
it's hard.
Is difficult.
You've got one specialist fly half, mate.
How different is it?
Dan Edwards has been playing well, but is completely untested, a lot uncapped, completely assessed at international level. I mean, Gloucester have been doing really well. Like the whole Thomas Williams, Gareth Anscombe,
Really
and Gareth
strong.
Anscombe isn't in there with the experience that he brings in. I mean, Costello's out with injury, or is he in? Can't remember now. I might have to have a look at that.
Yeah, Costello's injured. In fairness, he probably would have got picked. But he said, so Gatland, on the absence of Gareth Anscombe, he said, that's a big point. We've spoken about 10 being the position to develop some depth. And yet he's picked 110. Looking short term and long term, getting some experience in the position. He's 33 now and he'll be 36 by the next World Cup. Will he be around? We need to develop some depth. But you've only picked 110. Like, you're not developing depth.
And the way you develop depth is, and the way, again, it's probably to look at England's setup. Let's look at over the last couple of years. You've always had one of your senior fly halves in there and somebody sat behind. Do you mean? You've got a squad where you've got Marcus Smith, but you've got George Ford there somewhere in camp with him. Do you mean? You've got Farrell in camp somewhere with him. Like bringing these 10s on, because just throwing a kid in with no one to mentor, no one to sit there, no one to look at, no one to work, bounce off of, etc. Just throwing them into an internet.
That's almost.
That's not building depth. That's hoping that you create depth, and hoping that they do well on their own and not coming in. So I was expecting to see Anscombe in as the experience as the 10. especially in the squad. Right? Yeah, you might not start him, but to be in the squad to pass on the experience, I was expecting that, and I think he has been playing well.
And you've got a ready-made 9-10 partnership at Gloucester and Thomas Williams and Garrett. Because let's be honest, Thomas Williams starts, right? The way he's playing. If he doesn't start, then I don't know what he's smoking.
Yeah. I don't know if like Gloucester or piffed Gatland off or whatever because Matt Llewellyn's not in there as well. I don't.
Like probably the form centre in the Prem at the minute. He's absolutely tearing it apart.
The one thing Wales need is attack.
Yeah.
The one thing that Gatland team needs is like some attack. And what have Gloucester been doing all season?
Attack.
Yeah. And like Matt Llewellyn is, I think we looked at our fancy points for him, and he's like the second highest centre in the whole Prem in terms of like our fancy point scoring system. I'm like, he's been playing very well, and at 13 as well.
And consistently
Wales
well as well, right? It's not like.
Yeah.
Not like the odd game here, the odd game there where he does well. No, it's like he has been probably one of Gloucester's best players.
And
every game.
And the 13 position for Wales. I mean, ever since we lost like Jonathan Davies, like give me an out and out 13. We were playing George North there for like a year and a half. Like he's not a fit. So it's a position that we've genuinely struggled in recently. Our centre partnerships. To see him omitted. I mean, I don't know what Gloucester have done. Like, he must have drove through the services and got a bad cup of coffee or something. Like Gatlands.
Just for those.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he's done.
Just for those people who don't follow Welsh rugby and aren't like super pro on it, how?
So for you, Ollie.
Yeah. How much change has there been since the autumn internationals in terms of the team? Is this like a completely new side, or
it's not a completely new side? I think the shock to me is that there were some people that did perform really well off his sort of grenade brand new sort of team last year. There was a couple of new caps that actually have performed really well over the last year that I would have expected sort of the likes of Cam Winnett, etc., to be in there. He's been playing really well, and I would have thought to carry on sort of his development and to see him like continue to do well. His sort of omittance from the team is a bit of a shock. I mean, the back row, I think we messed around that back row so much, and there's some big names in there. Sort of the Wainwrights and Jack Morgan back is sort of fantastic, but the likes of Tame Plumtree, that has been sort of was playing really well in that sort of. But to see Falatau come back in is a bit of a shock. Like the sort of injuries that he's faced, like not being into sort of the Welsh team. So it's pretty interesting that he brings up the likes of sort of Gareth Anascombe in age, and sort of, but then sort of Toby Falatau with sort of age and injuries, that he's happy to sort of bring him back. Especially when he tried so many people in that back row and so many different back row combinations.
Because Aaron Wainwright's been going well at 8, and then you've got, but then who do you play at 6? Because he's not put Plumtree in there, who's been
Tame Basham. There's some Tame Basham. We've had some really, we've had some interesting back rows, and not that any of them have been. I don't think any of them have been particularly sort of terrible.
Jack Morgan's captain, though.
One.
So Jack Morgan's back in. He's captain. Good to see him back from injury. I think that's important for Wales, particularly in the absence of Dowie Lake.
Massively. And to sort of have him back, if you're looking back to one of the people that really did raise their head sort of 18 months ago, sort of like last World Cup, really did raise his hand. I mean, there was like the talk of Lions a year ago, and was like the only person that makes it in is sort of Jack Morgan. I think the line out clearance 50-22 sort of submitted him as it. Yeah, just absolutely sold it. But yeah, Jack Morgan back for Wales is huge. But again, it's who you pair him up with, sort of in the back row. You said about sort of Derry Lake, etc. It's really important that we start building, especially at sort of captain and skipper, a bit of continuity. Really important.
Dowie's out, and I think he's been. If we're looking at Lions, I think he's probably your best bet is Dowie Lake.
I would
in terms of the
have
Welsh
said
team.
sort of Rio Dyer and stuff would have been. He's not even in sort of Welsh teams, so it becomes really hard then to sort of obviously select for Lions
On
someone
the back
that's
of
not
no
even.
Six Nations.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that might be Gatland's sneaky plan that he doesn't want his players injured with the Lions, so he's. I don't know.
But this is what he said about this. I don't.
Gatland's thinking.
I genuinely don't know what he's like up to, right? Because so this is what he said about leaving out Max Llewellyn. He's like, he's pretty unlucky in terms of that. For us, a lot of quality 12s around. 13 is the one position we haven't got depth. With Joe being there as an option with left foot, we'll see how we'll go. We were limited a bit. We were going to pick 33. We picked 34 as we're going to France for a week for a camp. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this again. And it's a really important line. He's pretty unlucky in terms of that. For us, there's a lot of quality 12s around. 13 is the one position we haven't got depth. Would you like to hazard a guess which position Max Llewellyn plays for Gloucester?
I'm going to get, and this is why I can't wrap my.
He plays 13, mate. He's played one game at 12, like a single game at 12. He's played like 11. He's played I don't know how many games. Most of his games at 13, and like a couple on the wing. And he's 6 foot, mate. He's like 6'4", pushing 6'5", and he's 107 kilograms. Like that, and he's a kid who can play on the wing. Right, so he can shift. That's the athletic profile of the ideal centre.
That's not even the most alarming thing. Where he goes on about, we got like shed loads of 12. I'm like, show me, where's this next Jamie Roberts at 12, mate? Like, give me another name that is like synonymous with Wales at 12. Where's the out and out 12? Because again, look through the 12s that we've had recently in the last sort of like
year. In there.
Yeah, we've swapped. We've swapped them in and out. We had like Ben playing there, and then we swapped him in, and then we had. Yeah, I don't. Eva Gatland is 5 steps ahead of all of us, and he's like, I know, I've been having phone calls with Razzie, and he's just stepped up his mind game. I'm not sure if he's either that or he spent too much time in the valleys and started smoking crack or something. I don't know. He's gone mental.
It's weird, like that line, like we've got a lot of quality 12. 13 is the one position we haven't got depth. When talking about a 13 that you've excluded, like it's just such a weird.
There's another. I'll just quickly. I found it earlier on the BBC. There's one that was just like an ever so like Gatland line. As ever, there's going to be some disappointed players who have missed out on selection. The message to them is, keep working hard because you'll never know what will happen. It's like the whole of Wales doesn't know what's going to happen, Gatland. Them.
In fairness, though, like we've taken the piss a little bit and been a few jokes, but actually I think there's some real quality in there. I think you struggle at prop and at hooker. Your front row is a little bit. But I look at your
like either combinations. Like it's nice to have Kieran sort of Azrati back, but it is a worry. I do like Elliot D, and it's sort of good to see him come back in, but I like international starting like strong enough is that is a worry. The front row bit is a bit of a concern.
I think your back row could be quite nice. I don't know who you play at 6. I'd be interested to see who you end up playing at 6. I suspect you'll end up with Jack Morgan at 6, but I'm not sure he fits the kind of profile you'd want.
And the problem is with Jack Morgan next to Faletau. Faletau is, and we saw it fit like Wales and the Lions, in that he's a good leader. So it'd be really interesting to see the sort of the leadership bit between sort of Faletau and Jack Morgan and how that goes. It'd be interesting to see him on the park at the same time. I mean, they have got James Botham in. So like he like young, like interesting. So he can play. He's 6. So it'd be really interesting.
Do you have James?
But again, Tommy Raphael still makes. I'm not sure where he features with sort of Jack Morgan, but yeah.
No, you've got no James Botham, mate.
Have you not? Is James Botham out?
He's out. Been dropped, mate. Like,
has he got shit? Oh, I don't know. He's in. Let me have a look.
Unless I'm looking at that. It's entirely possible that I've looked at the wrong thing.
Wales pick. Yeah, I'm just on the BBC site now. BBC Wales, BBC Sport. He's in the forwards. Teddy Williams, James Botham, Adam Ray, Wright, Fullertown, Morgan, Tommy Rafael.
Why is he not on my list then? What have I done wrong?
Maybe Gatland sent me a special list, mate. I can't.
Ah, yeah, he is there. I've missed him.
Yeah.
Silly me. Oh, yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, you're right. He is there. That's me being an idiot.
Yeah, there's.
But I think Nicky Smith adds a lot to your loose head. Nicky Smith is really good. He's been really quality for Leicester. Done really well. I think you've got Thomas Williams is probably the form 9 in the home nations at the minute.
He is the spark, and I think, and you can definitely see it with sort of Gloucester. I think actually, like, look at
he suits the way they play.
Yeah, he shoots the way they play, and I think if anyone's going to, when it comes to tight games, those crazy interceptions, the little show and goes, that if anyone's going to get Wales out of a rut and maybe like break a line and get on their front foot, those support lines that he runs are phenomenal.
Yeah,
so I think he keeping him fit and playing
is very important for Wales,
and especially with not an out and out experienced 10. Like, you do rely on your scrum half more to control the game.
The flow,
so everything else. So, yeah, Thomas Williams there is absolutely sort of key to Wales in this Six Nations.
Yeah, if he goes, I think the whole nation struggles. Yeah, I like Ben Thomas. I rate Ben Thomas at centre. I think he's got a nice combination of like hard running lines, but nice smooth passes. Can double as a 10 if you're so inclined, but
there are some, if you sort of watch him play like a few times, and I think similar to a bit of Ollie Lawrence and probably a bit worse because it's a 10-12. It's Wales almost have to pick him now. Like, where do you want him? Like, where do you want to play him? Like, are you going to play him as a fly half, or are you going to play him as 12? Because I think if you really want the best out of him,
12 is out there.
Like, you need to tell him now, because you're always, even if you're like, 12, you've always got, like, you can't switch off the fly half mode in your head, and vice versa. Now, if you actually want like 100% the best out of him in either one of those positions, you need to tell him now, and that's where you need to play him. And my worry is that, again, that he'll always run 80% of training as a centre, and then they'll throw him in at 10 for a bit to sort of keep him there. And either way, I'm not sure either one will get the best out of him. It is nice to see Josh Hathaway. I think he's, again, one of the Gloucester boys that has been performing really quite well. It's good to get Josh Adams back for Wales. I know, sort of in interview, when we looked at the autumn series, Gatland said that he was sort of giving him a break. He was carrying a couple of niggles, a couple of knocks, and sort of not at his best. So it's nice to see him sort of, obviously now had taken a bit of time coming back in. I think he has a lot of experience, Josh Adams. So it'd be nice to see him. Liam Williams is, someone that's been out for a bit, and obviously Japan back to the Prem now, back into Wales again.
He's had a bit of a shaky start to his time at Saracens as well. I was surprised he got back into the squad, to be fair.
It was a bit of a. I do
he's
agree,
a quality player,
but experience. And if you're not picking Cam Winnett, like you got someone.
Yeah, but like I would have, in all honesty, at the minute with the way he's playing for Saracens, I probably would have picked Cam Winnett.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was shocked that he picked Lee Rose. I was shocked that he picked him and Cam when it isn't there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was what got me. All right, couple of questions then. One, how would you summarize your feelings about the squad then now?
I don't know what Gatland's playing at. And I'm trying to understand what he's trying to achieve with this team. And apart from, I wouldn't say he's particularly blooding a lot of new players. But yeah, I'm struggling to see that the sort of method in his madness at the moment, and I'm more than happy to be proved wrong. But there's just some calls in there that I struggle to make in my own head.
Yeah, I'd go confused as well. Like that's how I'd summarize. Like I'm just confused about what he's trying to achieve. One specialist 10, saying he's got an abundance of 12s but needs 13s, and then not picking the 13 they were asking about.
In form, out and out 13. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. But that's how it's it. But I'd hate to put you on the spot. How do you think that squad gets on in this Six Nations? Predictions.
I think there is a 15 there in my head that I genuinely think could be up there and challenge a few teams. It's just whether or not that 15 ends up in the right games with the right 15 on the pitch. I mean, it's really hard to see without sort of other teams in there. I think there is enough experience dotted around there, and there is enough sort of exciting players in there that I think I'd like to think that we'd be able to challenge a few teams. I still think even with that team, when I look at the depth of the likes of Ireland and England, I think we struggle. When you look at like a full team, not just like a starting 15, if you look at the strength of like the 33, 34, 35, like I think against some of the bigger teams, we struggle with a full team.
So you're not predicting a wooden spoon for Wales again? No wooden spoon again this year?
I don't think.
Wales.
Yeah, I think there's enough in there to give me hope. There's enough sort of experience, and there's enough exciting players in there to give me a bit of hope. But again, there's been a hell of a lot of rugby since the last Six Nations. Do you know what I mean? The summer tours, some people having, I don't want to say like easier summer tours, but Scotland, like some people having easier summer tours than others. Autumn internationals, there was a couple of teams bit sort of shaky or didn't perform as well as they did sort of Six Nations, I don't think. So it'd be really interesting to see. I'm hoping that Wales do attack and we haven't just gone back to Gats ball.
Yeah, their opening game's big, like playing France in Paris on that opening weekend, first game in Six Nations.
That is a big game.
Like, I'm sorry, that's not the game you're targeting if you're Gatland, is it? Like, that's not the game you're going after. Like, you expect to lose that one. Which it's harsh to say, but
it's Italy at home would be lovely. But,
yeah. You haven't even got that, mate. You're away to Italy the following weekend.
So away France, away Italy,
away, home, away to Ireland, and then home to England.
Fuckers.
Good luck.
Home to England. Whoa. That's Super Saturday, isn't it? Last weekend.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
That's one hell of a way to end it.
Save the best to last. Oof.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. He's out of no value. He's out of no.
I literally said at the start, I was like, I know no one in the Welsh squad.
It wasn't an attack, Ollie. It was just a statement.
I'm literally just
that line there. I said at the beginning, I know no one in the Welsh squad. That's going in the end of the podcast. Yeah.
I was literally
like, you know, like the secret bit. If you hang around with like a Disney film and you watch all the credits at the end, you get like a little secret bit.
Do that.
Like in the Avengers film, when it was like 3/4 of the way through the Avengers credits, it would like show you a little bit of a teaser for the next
Warren
film.
Gatland come in the back of Ollie's screens.
Yeah.
Oh,